Okay, time to set this plane up for use now that we've sharpened the iron. This is the number 3 that we were working on earlier. As you can see, here's the toe of the plane. Back here is the heel. The iron is right here in this area. It's not going to be easy to see because of it being so fine. So I'm going to look down the sole from the toe, put that in line with my eye so I can see all the way down the sole like it's one long line. Here on the side, that same little knob that we were adjusting earlier so that we could actually, I'm trying to get a good position, the little knob that we were adjusting earlier so that we could actually bring the iron back in so we weren't going to cut ourselves with the sharp blade. That one I'm going to start winding out slightly while I'm looking down the sole. And I'm going to see, ultimately, when I get to the point where the iron comes through, I'm going to see a little black line across the sole, and it's just going to look like a little sliver of black. And so while I'm doing this, I'll talk my way through it, and so I'm going to be just bringing it forward just very, very slowly while I'm watching down the plane. And that's got it right there. I can see the iron all the way across, and it looks like it's just about level. If it wasn't, I'd take a little lightweight hammer and just tap very, very lightly this way or this way to get it so that it would be just like this. That kind of taps, not very heavy. And until things look like they are balanced inside here. Now I'm going to wind it back in, or if it's really far out, there's also the lever that's back here that you can use to adjust that lateral side movement until it looks just about right, and then you can always tweak it with the hammer when you're trying to get right down to the very last little bit. So now I'm looking at the iron sticking through. I'm going to start winding it backwards, counterclockwise, so that I'm going to pull the iron back into where it no longer is showing through. And when I get to that point, I'll stop. And you can go just a little bit more if you want to, if your eyesight's not real good like mine. That way you make sure that you're not going to be taking a cut. I still may. Now, instead of starting out on the wood right now, I'm going to go ahead, go back to that knob, and turn it clockwise, and it should feel really super loose. Bring it up to the point where you just feel it start to tighten. That way you've taken any backlash out of it. So then it's a matter of putting it onto the wood, and I put it on one side of the board, just at the edge, like that. See if I can take a cut. I'm not. The other side, same thing, no cut. So now it's adjusting that same knob, but we're only going to go a couple minutes forward if you're thinking about it like a clock face. Okay, so with that little bit of adjustment, I took the shaving that you might be able to see here in the throat. There was just barely touching on the left-hand side where I took all of this on the right-hand side. So that means that it's heavy on the right-hand side. So I'm going to tap it on the right-hand side. So it will pivot, bringing that heavy part out and making the other part just about equal. And just lightweight taps, like I said. That side's got about, yep, I shot right past it even with that little lightweight tap. So we'll see if I can do better this time. Hopefully that feels a little lighter there. And that's pretty close. The left-hand side is just barely heavier. So I'm going to go forward with that. I know that I can work with that since I've got a cambered iron. So now I'm going to try the center of it to see what my cut's like. And that's probably a little heavier than what I usually set it up for if I'm doing a smoother. So then I'll take it and wind it counterclockwise after I reach it where I feel pressure, just ever so slightly, then bring it back up, take the pressure off. And then I've got a lighter shaving. As you can see, maybe you can see on the camera, it's got some wispiness to it. So that right there is a decent enough shaving that all except for the super finest stuff would be ultimately just fine. And it's leaving a really nice surface on here as well. Now, if you want, you can go back and just tweak it just a little bit. Very, very small movements at this point. And that right there, and you can see there's a little bit of a shaving in there. I don't know if, hopefully you can see. And that little bit of shaving, you might think, I need to go ahead and wind it forward. But it's a possibility that this may not be flat enough for that level of shaving. So I will take a few passes with it at that setting before I start advancing and see whether or not it might be sufficient. And if I was looking for that sub 1 thou shaving, I am there. You can see this is super lightweight. See how it floats down? So that also may help you see that just minor little small movements are very, very valuable when setting something like this up. And if you're trying to do that last finish on a flat top or something that needs the best possible surface, that's going to do it right there. So I hope that helps, and if you have any questions or comments, please let me know, and I'll see if I can't answer them as quickly as I can. This is Laird. Thank you for watching.